It was a gloomy Tuesday afternoon, and I was finishing up my science class. As the final bell rang, signaling the end of the school day, I gathered my belongings and headed towards the exit. However, I had forgotten my notebook in the laboratory. My heart sank as I realized I would have to go back and retrieve it. The school corridors were now empty, and an eerie silence had settled in. The dim hallway lights flickered, casting strange shadows on the walls. I quickened my pace, trying to shake off the unease that was beginning to creep up on me. When I finally reached the laboratory, the door creaked ominously as I pushed it open. The room was shrouded in darkness, illuminated only by the faint light filtering through the windows. I stepped inside, my footsteps echoing off the cold tile floor. Retrieving my notebook from the back table, I turned to leave, but my heart froze as I heard a distinct click behind me. I spun around to see the laboratory door slowly swinging shut, as if being pulled by an invisible hand. Panic surged through me as I rushed towards the door, my fingers grasping at the handle. But it was futile. The door had been locked from the outside, trapping me in this dim, foreboding room. A shiver ran down my spine as I glanced around the room. The lab equipment loomed like sinister shapes in the darkness, their outlines distorted by the eerie light. I fumbled for my phone, hoping to call for help, only to realize that I had left it in my bag outside the lab. A sinking feeling of isolation enveloped me. As minutes turned into what felt like hours, the silence was broken by faint, unnatural sounds. The soft tapping of footsteps echoed in the corridor just outside the laboratory. My heart pounded in my chest as I strained my ears, desperately trying to discern if it was just my imagination playing tricks on me. Then a voice, a whisper that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once, reached my ears. "You're not alone," it hissed, the words chilling me to my core. I turned, my eyes darting around the room, searching for the source of the voice, but there was no one there. Panic surged through me, and I pressed myself against the wall as far away from the door as possible. The room seemed to close in around me, and my breaths came in shallow, rapid gasps. Every creak, every shadow seemed to be alive with malevolent intent. Time became a blur as fear consumed me. I didn't know how long I'd been trapped, but it felt like an eternity. Just as despair began to settle in, I heard a faint sound, the rattling of keys. The door slowly creaked open, revealing the concerned face of our school janitor. "Are you all right?" he asked, his voice a welcome anchor in the sea of terror that had engulfed me. I stumbled towards him, my legs shaky and weak. As I stepped out of the laboratory, the heavy feeling of dread began to lift. Looking back, I couldn't shake the feeling that something malevolent had been lurking in the shadows of that laboratory. Whether it was a product of my imagination or something more sinister, I knew that I would never forget the chilling experience of being locked in that room alone, with the unknown and the unexplainable.